What is the best way to make money? Employment or via freelancing? This question is becoming more and more important as more people became aware of not only remote work but online work and doing independent freelancing during the COVID pandemic. Answering the question which of these two is the best to make money, specifically if you refer to it online, is not a simple or an easy thing to do. You need to take into account factors like where do you live? Is there work available there for somebody like you? Are your skills, your expertise in demand where you live? But more than that, do you live in a country with a strong currency or a country with a poor currency? And we're going to look at these things a little bit later on. The second factor you need to take into account is what do you offer? Is it in demand in the freelancing and in the online world, or is it employment specific? Now, it's very true that once again, as a result of the pandemic, almost anything that you can do in employment, you can also do in freelancing. But still, is it something that when you do it online, pays the same or more, or does it pay less than what you would be paid for that same thing in employment? And then, very important, what is success for you? Do you look only at money? Success is so much more than just how much money do you bring in. It's also about your lifestyle. It is about achieving the things you are passionate about. It is about so much more than just how much money you make. So it's important to identify, is making money the only thing you want to take into account, or what would success look like for you? Because there are many benefits that freelancing has that employment doesn't have, and sure enough, there are some benefits that employment has that freelancing doesn't have. And then, very importantly, what is the time scale for measuring success? Do you want to measure it in a week, in a month, in 2 months, in 3 months, in a year, in 2 years, or what is your time scale? Because, of course, your salary changes, but as you become a more mature freelancer, the change in what you earn through freelancing is changing significantly, and I am going to give attention to that very soon. And then, very important, the lifestyle that you want. Do you want to make more money in order to have a better lifestyle? Do you realize that you can have a better lifestyle with freelancing than you can have in employment without making anything more, just because of the nature of freelancing as opposed to employment? So it's not a simple answer from the perspective of looking at all these specific factors. Even more, the bottom line is, if you have always been in employment and now you want to move on to freelancing, it doesn't just happen. You don't just decide to do it and then you set yourself up and then suddenly you are successful. There is going to be self-investment. It is like requalifying, it is reskilling, it is upskilling, it is relearning, and it is unlearning a whole lot of things. But if through investing in yourself and making sure that you make this transition to online freelancing in a way where you recognize the necessity of self-investment, and if you can achieve a return on that investment of more than 1,000% in 1 year through independent online freelancing, would that justify doing the professional development? Because you can only really compare something that you already do very well, working in an employed environment, to online freelancing and independent freelancing if you are willing to invest in the self-investment. So you need to recoup that money and then start to make money on top of that, which is your return on your investment. So if you can achieve a more than 1,000% return on that investment when you switch to freelancing over a period of a year, would that justify doing the professional investment and investing in yourself? If you are willing to do that, then there's no question that independent online freelancing is so much better than any form of employment, and I'm going to show you why I say that. But the first point is, it is highly unlikely to achieve that kind of salary increase in 1 year. So purely from that perspective, already we can say if you're willing to invest in yourself, if you're willing to do the professional development so that you can become a proficient freelancer online, then it's a no-brainer that that is the better option. I didn't just choose 1,000% out of thin air. I want to give you 3 examples of our members who switched from being employed to online freelancing, who achieved significantly more than 1,000% return on their investment to do the self-development, to become proficient researchers in their first year of being an independent online freelancer. So here are the examples, and I'm going to give you the growth in 1 year and then also in 18 months. So let's talk about Setu Kalili. She's a civil engineer and she provides project management. First, initially, she did it on-site and she did that for many years, and then she decided to become an online freelancer. Within 1 year, she had 1,900% return on the investment she made to develop herself and to do the professional development to become a freelancer. And in 18 months, 3,000% return on her investment. Even in 1 year, she already earned significantly more than what she could earn in a salaried position or in her previous life. Let's look at Dr. Michelle Crowley. She works in the editing and proofreading environment. And within 1 year, she had a 1,800% return on her investment to do the professional development so that she can become an efficient and successful online freelancer. And she already earned significantly more than what she did prior to becoming a freelancer. But within 18 months, her growth took her to 3,000% return on investment as well. And let's look at Annemarie Sillier. She works in the customer journey and sales funnel environments. Within 1 year, she earned 1,000% return on her investment to do the self-development and the professional development in order to shift to online freelancing. She started to earn more than what she earned before 5 months into this journey. But after 18 months, she had a 2,000% increase in the return on investment. With these types of figures, where else can you invest money and get this type of growth? So my point is, if you want to ask the question, if employment is better than online freelancing, you need to understand that online freelancing is a completely new environment and you do need to invest in self-development. But that investment that you are making provides growth that you can find almost nowhere else. Before we talk about money specifically, I just want to bring to your attention and remind you that there are other benefits as well. An in-office employment environment, we know this very well. It provides you with a salary every single month. There's a sense of financial security to it. Now, if you stay in the employment environment, so you get a salary every month, but you start to work remotely, then you have the additional benefits of being free to move. You're not geographically bound in any way, so you can travel while you work. And if the employment can also be such so that you can choose your hours, then you also have more flexibility. You don't have to do things like commuting to work. You can stay at home and work from home. But if you shift out of the employment environment and move into independent online freelancing, it provides a whole raft of benefits that employment doesn't offer, because you can now choose what service you want to do, you can choose what life you want to do, and you can choose who you want to work for, because you can render the service that you want to render and do what you are passionate about. It's not like employment where work is assigned to you. You choose what you want to do. So if you can do it in a way that, like the examples I showed you, bring in more money than what you could in employment, plus all the other benefits of not having work assigned to you, not being constrained in what you can do when and how you manage your time and how you set up your diary. Independent online freelancing offers those types of benefits. In addition to that, if you shift and you focus on an online business, virtual business, in other words, completely online with no headquarters, no physical office, it provides even more benefits, because unlike online freelancing, there's no ceiling in what you can earn. You also do not need to do everything yourself anymore. You're not selling time anymore. You can literally build a team of people and build businesses that you can on-sell. So it becomes an asset. But I know the main question is employment or freelancing better to make money? So let's look at the financial comparison. And I'm using online freelancing in comparison to employment, not business. I'm focusing on the freelancing world. So that yellow line that you see there, that is more or less how your salary will grow over time. It's a slow and steady growth. And this is true for salaries. If you change your job very often and you are very aggressive in making sure that your next job pays significantly, there may be a little bit of a staircasing, but it's a slow and steady growth over time. Now, the blue line is normally what we expect. It's a fair expectation that if you make more effort, there will be more money. If you spend more time working, there will be the equivalent of more money. So we think in terms of time translated into money, earning, the effort that I spend is more or less a straight line. But that S-curve of a green line that is there, That is the reality of online freelancing. Initially, because you are primarily busy with professional development and you're learning a completely new environment and working in a completely new environment, there's a period of professional development where you earn less than what you could in employment, even though you make the same effort or even more, and you earn much less than what you expected to earn. Now, most people decide, I'm going to try freelancing, and then they give up during this phase for two reasons. First of all, it's much less than what they expected to earn, and secondly, they don't make the effort to invest in themselves for professional development, so that period is extended for too long. You need to shorten the time in this space where you earn less than what you could in full-time employment, even though you make a lot of effort. You want that period of time to be as short as possible, and that is why it's crucially important to invest in developing yourself to work in this new environment. But as you learn and as you understand how it works, you start to grow your income, and very quickly, once it starts to grow, it really does accelerate. And very quickly you start to earn more than what you could in full-time employment. But it still doesn't give you what you would like for a lifestyle. And it's less than what you would expect for the level of effort that you are put in. But it continues to grow, and soon it exceeds your expectations, and then you start to dream big and you see all these new opportunities, only to find that your income starts to taper off. For the same level of effort, it starts to taper off. It does not continue to grow at that fast pace. So let's look at the three phases of online independent freelancing. There's the first phase, which is the professional development phase. Now, many people get really demotivated because they think, if I need to make this much effort to earn this little, then it's really not worth it. Well, here's the way you should be thinking about it. Where else do you get paid in order to do professional development? Because you're going to be earning as you are learning. Once you understand how to work in this environment, you know how to do it in a way that really sets you up for success. There's a period of fast growth where you start to earn more than what you could in full-time employment, and that's a really, really exciting phase to be in. But still, it does not give you the lifestyle that you wanted to, that you were looking for. And then it continues to grow, and it starts to give you the lifestyle, and what you really struggle to do initially becomes really easy and almost a habit, and you can find work almost on demand, and you can choose who to work with, and you can choose what you want to do. You can arrange your time the way you want to arrange it, and you really, really enjoy it, and you start to see new horizons, but then it starts to taper off. But by now, you are used to the fact that you can do much better in freelancing than what you can do in full-time employment, and you want more. You see new horizons. And that's the point where many people branch out and they continue with what they already know, but they start a second income stream and a third income stream. Most people who succeed significantly online end up having an online portfolio career. Let's look at two other really important aspects that impact on freelancing that's not that important in employment, especially if it's in-office employment. And that is time zones and exchange rates. Let's talk about time zones first. If you are a freelancer and you offer the service to international clients, chances are that they are in different time zones, which means you will be working at different times with different clients. Now, you need to manage that to make sure that you actually have the freedom of time that you anticipated initially. So you need to learn how to think about time zones when you choose your clients. And exchange rate is equally very, very important, because how you go about creating success online is very much dependent on your exchange rate. Is it much weaker than the United States dollars, or is it almost on par to the United States dollars, or is it stronger than the United States dollars? The exchange rate to with your local currency, and I'm talking about the country that you pay tax in, is incredibly important, because people with a really weak currency in comparison to other currencies have more options of what they can do online and make it profitable because they earn in a currency that's much stronger than theirs. While if you have a really strong currency, you are more limited in what you could do and make the life that you want in terms of freelancing. And you need to learn how to deal with this and how to think about it and how that impacts on both your life and the choices of what you can do online. Another thing that is really, really important, and that is why I give specific attention to it, it's linked to the exchange rate, but it's linked to more than that. What do you want to offer online? And I'm not talking about which industry you are in or specifically what service, because most industries are now very well established online, and you can do almost everything that you can do in an office, you can do online and more. I am talking about, let's say those two bowls that you see there is the demand for a service. Are you a fairly unique service provider, or are you one of many? Let me give you an example. Fairly unique, you're a coach, for instance, and you provide a very specific service, let's say in the fitness industry or in the health industry or in some business area that is a very unique area, which means there's the demand because of the novelty and the uniqueness and the scarcity of your service, and therefore you can charge a higher rate. Whereas if you would focus, for instance, on something like transcription or English teaching or one of those that are very, very common, you are one of many offering the same service, and therefore the hourly rate is usually very low. And you've guessed it, you can get away with building a very good life as a freelancer if you live in a country with a weak currency, in an area that has a low hourly rate. But you could not do that if you live in a country with a strong currency. And that is why it is so important to understand the dynamics, understand the whole landscape of online remoting, so that you can choose something that's relevant and will work for someone like you. And it's way more than just the skills and the expertise that you have. It takes into account your whole world and what you want to achieve. And a very important thing is, what is the hourly rate that you want to work for? Countries with low currencies can bring the hourly rate down for services that they can offer very well. And if you live in a country with a strong currency, you just cannot compete with that, and you can't earn a living with that. So having outlined that online freelancing in principle is the better option if you do it right, if you take into account all these different factors and you find something that will work for you based on who you are, where you live, what your goals are. Why do so many people still not start? We have asked hundreds of people this question, and we have identified a few reasons why people don't start. The first one is they are uncertain what to offer online. And what I have just shared with you is that there is a lot of things that you need to take into account when you decide what to offer online. So you need a way to understand the whole landscape, to make sense of everything, so that you can choose well, so that if you do go through that S-curve of growth, it gives you the lifestyle you want and the income you want. The second reason why many people don't start is they need clarity about how to go about building online success. We are confident that we can build success in an employed position, but in online freelancing, it's different. It's a completely new work environment. It's a completely new way of doing things. So how do you go about building online success? They need to know what is the journey, the step-by-step journey to go to success. How do you create success online? Other reasons are that they don't know where to start. It's just overwhelming. There's so much information in the online world, and so many different voices shout so many different messages, and everybody claims to know what you should be doing. You just don't know where to start. What do you do first, and how do you move step by step forward? And a biggie, many people can't figure out, so how am I going to find clients online? How does that even work? And I have spoken to a number of people. They are concerned that they will constantly have to chase invoices, don't get paid for the work that they are doing. Whereas, honestly, in the way it works online, that is not a concern at all. You do get paid for the work that you are doing routinely if you do it right. So here's my point. I have no doubt, because it worked for me and it worked for a number of our members, that online freelancing can make much more money than an employed position, whether it's in-office employment or remote employment. But there's a whole lot of things that you need to take into account. There is most definitely investment in self-development that is necessary if you want to do it in a way to achieve that goal of making more money than what you can do in employment. So start here. I'm offering an online webinar that outlines the case for independent online income and provides you with a roadmap to success so that you can know what to do first, how to go about online remoting, and how does this environment enable you to earn more than what you could in employment? Because I have also spoken to many people who tried it even for years, and because they made the wrong choices along the way, they never achieved that earning more than employment. Click on the button to go to the registration page and attend this webinar so that you can learn why online independent freelancing really is the future of work, how to do it in a way that you will definitely earn more than you could in an employed position, and how to do it in a way so that you progress to significant success as fast as possible. We'll provide you with a roadmap in that webinar. Click on the red button to go to the registration page, or find the link to the webinar also in the description. But if you are interested in independent online freelancing, I can guarantee you, if you do it right, it will take you much further in your career and you will earn much more money through online freelancing. Plus, online freelancing is only the first step in your online success. There is so much more to come that you can expand on, something that employment doesn't normally.